what I thought I had lost, eventually the best pictures, the best negatives, uh, I found them. You see, I left my negatives. While I was away, a flood came, and all the other photographers, Stars and Stripes, took their things away from the flood. But no one had the guts to take my pictures, that I had everything in a box. All they had to do was to take it out of where this flood had flooded this basement. We had a dark room in a blaze of Stars and Stripes in the basement. And when it was this flood, the basement was flooded, and all the photographers took all their things away, and no one had the guts. I wasn't there. I was on a trip to Spain, and when I come back, I found that most of my negatives were saved, but some were ruined by the flood. And I was surprised that while I was away at Stars and Stripes, the other photographers didn't take the things, my things, out of the cellar and above the water. I'd like to tell you how I took this picture. So up this hill happens to be the Italian embassy or consulate, because the embassy is in the capital of the country. Frankfurt was not the capital of the country, so it was just and I was at the Italian consulate, and I happened to look far away, and I see this man. I ran down to take this picture, and I clicked it, you know. I would love to show you the picture of the Italian consulate that I took first. And then I said goodbye to them. I go to the door and I see this from far away, and I ran there, and I ran back, and I clicked without stopping. You know, I guess I had it at 250 seconds. So, and that's how, to me, this is one of my best pictures. It's love for humanity. When he came to hours and hours later, I talked with him, and I needed an interpreter because he only spoke German. And he tells me through this interpreter that he was taken prisoner by the Americans and taken to Texas, far away from Europe, you see. And now, when he was drafted in the German army, Frankfurt was all up a city, big city. After the war, during the war, Frankfurt was bombed by the Americans to rubble everywhere. They had absolutely they really hated Hitler at that time, because Hitler was running the country. And so we consider ourselves intelligent. Yet we have had wars since before the Romans, thousands of years. And why we do it, we do not know. We just encounter each other, I suppose, and we don't like each other, we have wars. But I think that by dividing the world of people into different nations is what creates hate for each other, love for each other, and that's the biggest mistake. We should create one world. But United Nations is trying to unite the nations. You cannot unite the nations. You can only unite individuals. You, me, and somebody else will realize that we are all alike. We are one big family. We're not Italians. We're not French. We're not Russians. We are humans all over this planet. And only if these ideas come to you, you see that picture of Arthur Rothstein there. He started in 1936 and was one of the first to think, why wars? Wars is because one nation hates the next one. Let's get rid of the United Nations, because nations cannot unite. Only people can unite. The biggest lesson was when we arrived as a soldier at Saint-Briac-sur-Mer. And up to that point, I was just taking pictures. But then suddenly, in this crowded plaza, because the French had been under the Germans, it was a big holiday. And I was fortunate to have asked my sisters to send me a camera, an Argus C3, that I had purchased by being a caddy in the golf course of New Rochelle. So I was a caddy, and suddenly I was carrying the cases of a person who literally turned out to be a photographer. And this man said, "You're a wonderful caddy," which was what I had been doing almost for a full year. He said, "I like you, and I would prefer to have you every time I come to play golf here." So why he liked me, I had no idea, but we met, and I was his caddy every time he came to play golf. At a certain point, I see people taking pictures, And I was wondering what job should I have. The first thing was to be a barber. And so for about 2-3 months, I was the assistant to a barber in New Rochelle. And I gave, at a certain point, what I used to do when the barbershop was crowded. I was the one who only put soap in the face of the people, and then came my uncle, Onofrio, who, no, not Onofrio, oh, Tony, man who changed my life, I forgot his, I see his place was in Monevro. Anyway, oh yes, there was a barber who needed someone to sweep the floor when he gave haircuts. He needed someone to sweep the floor. So I began to, he asked me if I could do that. So I was a sweeper of hair in a barber shop. Little by little, I made quite a bit of tips, quite a bit of money, and I saw people taking pictures, and someone suggested, why don't you take some pictures? And I was fortunate to find a second-hand Argus C3, and that was my first camera. First thing is to be honest in what you are doing. Photography is an amazing profession. You can tell the truth with it, or you can lie with it, or you can just entertain with it. In the world we live in, oh, excuse me, we usually do things to entertain people, to educate people with a camera. Camera, think of it as if it is a pen with which you write. And when you write, the most important thing is honesty. And that is why I chose photography.